So a lot of people have been waiting for the market to cool off.
So what does the market look like in Sarasota County, Florida?
And that includes Venice, Sarasota, of course, and Northport. And at the end, we're going to talk about where we think the market's going to go and if we think it's going to crash. We're going to cover all the details you need to know in this video, and we're getting started right now.
If you're looking to move to the area, make sure to call, text, or email me. My information will be in the description box below. I hear from people every day and I love it.
So tell us what is happening, Miss Realtor.
So home prices continue to rise. We still have very low inventory. Many new home buyers or younger home buyers that don't have, loads of cash are getting priced out of the market, unfortunately. A lot of our sales are cash deals or deals with like a hefty down payment. So they're maybe like putting $200,000 as a down payment and then financing another $200,000 or $300,000. So those deals are always going to look better to a home seller, but it doesn't mean that just because you're financing that you won't be able to purchase a home, because I found homes for some of my buyers. So even though the market's a little bit crazy, there are still opportunities out there.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced this, like being your little sidekick helper firsthand. Definitely a lot harder if you are financing. We've ran into that issue, and a lot of people, even when we bumped into, shout out to Super General One.
Yes.
We saw him by the dog park the other day in Venice, and he even mentioned that, he put in a bunch of offers, and, so a lot of people are experiencing that it takes a little while to maybe get one to stick or that gets accepted.
When you're financing, it's when you're going to have a lot of competition with cash buyers, but even cash buyers are having issues with getting outbid with an offer. Like, I put in offers for people purchasing with cash, and unfortunately we haven't been able to get those, even though we are going over the asking price. It's still cash, but there have been other offers that are better maybe.
Okay, before we get into where we think the market is going, what are some tips on that tangent? Like, what's some things that are difference makers when you're putting in an offer, when it's like cash versus cash and maybe similar price or the same price? What's like making the difference, do you think?
Most likely the inspection period and the closing date. So if you're flexible, first of all, with the closing date, because the seller now needs to find a home so that they can move out of the house that you just purchased, you will most likely than not in this market win that offer. But then again, with that, you have to be flexible on like inspection. Typically an inspection period, it's like 10 days in a typical market. In this market, we're seeing like 3-day inspection. 5 to 7 days is what's most popular right now. The lower inspection date or inspection period you go, the higher your chances of winning that offer. And then obviously going a little bit over the asking price. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but most deals that are getting accepted in this market are over the asking price, maybe $5,000 to $10,000, even 15. I've seen even some houses go for like $40,000.
That's at a higher price point for the house itself, though, or?
Yes, like in the 300s, mid 300s.
That's not crazy high for Venice area and Sarasota.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Because I like to keep an eye on, okay, my buyer liked this house. How much did it actually sell for?
Yeah.
So I have seen some of those houses go for like even $50,000 over the asking price.
Motivated buyers.
Yes, definitely. But if you can go a little bit over the asking price, do like a 5 to 7 day inspection period, so your inspection period is still relatively low, and then put in as much escrow as you can. So when we send the offer, you have 3 days to send in an escrow. That just lets the seller know that you're a motivated buyer. So the more you can put in, the better. And then the closing date, being as open to a closing date as you can.
Why do you think, though, the shortened inspection period is such an important thing? Because I don't know. I want to know.
So the inspection period, it's basically when you get the house inspected to make sure something's wrong with the house. And as a buyer, you can change your mind and not want to go through with the sale. The seller wants to know right away so that if they are going to be putting the house back on the market, maybe they have other offers that they did consider, so they can, instead of putting the house back on the market, they can reach out to other buyers and be like, hey, this house is no longer under contract, are you still interested? It gives them more
options.
Options, yes.
Especially this market, there's an extra premium on like how many days a place has been on the market. So I guess if you can get through that inspection period quick, okay, you don't want that house, get it to the next person and, you know, and get it off the market quick, because anything that sits much more than 4 days is like, what's wrong with that place?
Yes, and a lot of times too, sellers will have the house like on the market for a week before they even take any offers. So just because it's still on the market doesn't mean that that house isn't getting any offers. It's just the seller wants to hold off and see basically highest bidder.
So let's paint the picture a little bit more as far as details, like what's going on with the market as a whole. Tell us a little bit about interest rates and kind of what's going on with prices and things like that. And then from there we can kind of riff on where we think things will be going.
Yes, so interest rates are going up. They have been increasing since January 2022. The house prices are not coming down, they're staying steady. Even though typically having higher interest rates will help with inflation and lowering of housing prices, it's not happening right now, unfortunately.
Sorry.
But if you're a cash buyer, that doesn't really affect you as much. It's mainly, you know, those people who are financing, which are getting almost like priced out of the market. But even then, rents are also increasing. So would you rather pay your landlord's mortgage, or would you rather build equity in your own mortgage?
And we've heard from a lot of people, as hard as it is to buy a home, it's equally, if not more hard to find a rental.
Yes.
Places are going like hotcakes.
Yes. And a lot more expensive. Like with your mortgage, yeah, you're still paying 3.5-4% interest, but your mortgage payment is still relatively low compared to a rental. Like a mortgage payment could be, like on a 3-bed 2-bath home, could be $1,200, maybe $1,500, $1,600, including like insurance, private mortgage insurance, homeowners insurance, taxes, things like that. While a rental for the same house could be like $3,000, maybe even $4,000 a month.
Yeah, so basically what it comes down to is if you've got the money to put in the down payment, it just makes more sense. It's probably gonna be cheaper, and you're gonna own the property versus paying more for rent. If you've got the money aside, it's much more advantageous.
And the other thing with that too is that a lot of people are selling their homes right now. So what happens if your landlord sells their home? Like, where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
So you're still put in that situation. So instead of trying to figure out where to go next for a rent, or like being scared that your landlord is gonna sell their place and not having a house to call home, wouldn't you rather, you know, just purchase something if you have the down payment?
Yeah, I would.
So just to give you a little more information, and this is from the National Association of Realtors, and according to them, the monthly mortgage payment in Sarasota County rose by $112 for a 30-year mortgage, due not only to higher interest rates, but also to a higher appreciation of properties.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, on the ground level, like we've been telling you, places are going for high prices. Now you add interest a little bit higher.
Taxes and everything else. But even with that increase, Sarasota County and most of Florida is still pretty affordable, especially like compared to New York County or even like San Francisco County. So we're still pretty affordable.
Yeah, we for sure see a lot of people from the East Coast in general, I would say, moving down. I think it just depends. We've said this on the channel a lot on what your situation is, if it makes sense to move or not. You know, if you're a cash buyer, probably not as bad, especially if you're moving from like New York, San Francisco, a lot of places in Cali for that matter. You're probably going to get more for your money here. And if you're looking to maybe downsize, again, if you're paying 10% more for a place and you're getting 10% more for a place, but your place costs more, that 10% is higher, therefore you probably come out ahead. So tell me this, and then I'll give my 2 cents, even though I'm probably not quite as in the loop as you. Where do you think the market is going?
It's hard to say if we're, you know, heading to a crash or not. Like, we don't know. But I do know that a lot of the sales are cash sales, so the market can't crash if pretty much everyone owns their houses. You know, it's not like in 2008, like a lot of people are comparing this back to 2008 when the market crashed. The market crashed because a lot of those people were getting approved for loans that they couldn't afford. So they got into a situation where they bought more house than they could afford. Therefore, they couldn't keep up with the payments. So lenders kind of created that bubble. And also they weren't verifying like employment. In some cases they weren't even asking for down payments. This is not what we're seeing right now.
Pretty important stuff.
Yes, this is not what we're seeing right now. We're seeing lenders are asking for the down payment. They're verifying your income. 3 days before the closing date, they're calling your employer to make sure you're still employed. If you're not employed, you're not getting that loan. I think the market might level off here in the next couple of years, but I don't think we're heading to a crash.
My 2 cents, based on overall macro things and then also like what we're seeing on the ground level, lumber prices and material prices continue to be pretty high, but we are still actually in like the Northport, Inglewood to some degree, and Welland Park for sure area, seeing a lot of building, Nokomis, everywhere really, but there's still these massive waiting lists, and the building speed just is not keeping up with the demand. I don't think either, at least in this area, that we're looking to a crash again because of those things. That supply demand dynamic is not really in favor of a crash. I don't think. At best we'll maybe see a leveling off. Interest rates obviously will probably have an effect on that, but still, if there's not enough houses going up, I don't really see how that's going to change.
And a lot of those houses that are getting built for someone. So they're not like, again, in 2008, houses were just getting built and no one was buying those houses. Right now, it's like a house that's being bought, it's going up. It's nothing like, let's build a house and hope that it sells. It's like, okay, here's a lot. Someone comes in, builds, and it's their house.
And there's bidding wars on the lots.
Yes.
It's for that matter. So
yes.
Yeah, it's a crazy time here.
There are some builders that are, building on lots, like especially in Northport, you'll have a vacant lot and builders will come in and build a brand new house, but those houses are selling very quickly as well. So
yeah, I think if anything, it's more of a matter of at some point people get priced out of this market completely, and or the desire to be here, is satisfied or just goes away for whatever reason, which I don't really know what that would change. That interest rates again could have an effect on it, but I think that's going to take quite a bit, because if it hasn't changed yet, at what point will it?
And I think interest rates just going up, they're just continuing to price out of the market those same people that have been priced out of the market for how long.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, big announcement, merch. We've got merch. We'll have it linked in the description down below. Live breezy, palm trees, you got to get that cool vibe going. So if you want to, we got all kinds of, she's got a tank, t-shirt, there's hoodies, hats, etc. And if you purchase any of that stuff, it would be a huge support for the channel. We would appreciate it. We try to make as many videos for you guys, and if we can't sell home to all of you, we could at least sell a t-shirt maybe.
And we would love to see people just, like if we see you in the Venice, Sarasota areas wearing our merch, like it'd be so cool, I think.
We'd be feeling that.
If you're looking to move to the area, make sure to call, text, or email me. My information will be in the description box below. I hear from people every day and I love it.
If you found this video helpful, check out this video that'll help you with a little bit more about moving to Florida. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, and turn on all notifications. Leave a comment, let us know what you think is going to happen with the market, and live breezy.